Good evening and welcome to the Gold Goats and Guns Hour here on Labor Day evening, September 2nd, 2019. My name is Tom Luongo. I hope everybody's having a good time. I'm here in North Florida, waiting for the sword of Damocles named Dorian to come slamming down my state, and we'll see what happens after that. Quick programming note before we get too far down the road here. I apologize for not being on Friday night. Was unavoidable. I spent Friday driving down to South Florida in order to help a friend of mine get prepared for Hurricane Dorian because he's in Deerfield Beach. And guess what? As of Friday morning, Dorian was looking to hit his house. So sorry, y'all. I love you, but I like him more. So just the way things work. You know, it's all about, at the end of the day, one of the things that we do actually, one of the things and the threads that run through this channel, even though it doesn't always feel that way, is that I feel very strongly about community and why community and culture are so very, very important, and how politics divides us along sectarian lines for the purpose of furthering the agendas of those who would take everything from us and destroy our culture and destroy our community. The reason I go over the things the way I go over them, the reason I analyze politics the way I do, is as a warning to the breakdown of culture and the breakdown of community and the breakdown of society. At the end of the day, people matter more than current events. Always, and in every way, people are more important than money, politics, your job, your career, all of it. All of those other things are in service of the people and the relationships that you arrogate to yourself over the course of your life. There is no more powerful capital in this world than human capital. Monetary capital, physical capital, none of that stuff matters. If you don't have people to, one, share it with, or to have a purpose with which to apply it to the people in your life, the fuck are you doing it for? You're just masturbating on a grand scale. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk about Donald Trump tonight, but, you know, this happens. So if you're south of me in Florida on the East Coast, thankfully it looks like Miami and Fort Lauderdale are going to get missed with hurricane force winds. You know, a shout out to everybody in the Bahamas. Obviously, they're going through an unbelievable situation, and this storm has just, it's like everything that could have gone wrong for them has gone wrong. Someone had to bear the brunt of this. I know when I was down there on Friday night and into Saturday morning, when we were out Friday night after we had worked to most of Friday to secure a couple of major windows in his home that he couldn't do by himself. We went out, got some dinner, and then we went to the cigar bar afterwards. I partook of a large cylindrical piece of thing of tobacco, and I smoked the fucking shit out of it because it was awesome. And during that time, watching the first baseball game I've honestly watched in like 10 years, the mandatory evacuation code went out for Brevard County, and about that point, since he and I were in Broward at that point, and Brevard, if you don't know Florida, is Cape Canaveral basically, which would be about 100 and so miles to the north. Like, if they're mandatorily evacuating Brevard and not Broward, not Palm Beach, and not Martin and St. Lucie counties, this thing's definitely not going to hit. They definitely feel that the models in which this thing is going to turn hard, they feel very confident in those. At that point on Friday night, it was still very, very much touch and go. So, you know, it is what it is. I wasn't planning on doing a Labor Day stream tonight, Tenjin. I just felt bad about not doing one on Friday. I didn't want to miss two of them in a row, though I was just at my local gaming shop hanging out with my friends playing games. And if they had said, hey man, we're going to play Brass Birmingham until 11 o'clock, I'd be like, yeah, well, you know, fuck the live stream because I'm playing Brass. But that didn't happen. Everybody was kind of like, I need to get food. I need to go home. Like, all right, fine. I'll go home. I'll talk to my people for 45 minutes or so. So I don't know how long I'm going to go tonight. We're going to talk about Germany and the elections in Brandenburg and Saxony. I wrote an article about it this morning over my blog over tomluongo.me about why losing was winning for AfD in Saxony and Brandenburg. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about some other things as well, but these are the things that really are important. Interesting note about that, I wrote that this morning at like 8:30. I got done. I hit publish at like, I don't know, 9:45. By the time I was out the door at 11 o'clock or 10 after 11, I was sitting there chatting with Camille about some, future hurricane strategies and whatnot, and what for her to do today while I was gone. I got the ping notices that I had made zero hedge by, listening to my phone go crazy about all the ping backs on WordPress. I'm like, damn, that didn't take very long, but nobody else had a good discussion on what happened in Saxony and Brandenburg in the Western press. So, hey, sometimes you strike when the iron's hot and it works for you. So, but as far as this hurricane is concerned, for those of you who are worried about me, we're going to be fine. We're going to get a lot of rain. We may lose power for a couple of days. May not be a stream on Friday because if this thing doesn't hit till Wednesday, and the area gets soaked to the gills and we get any kind of winds whatsoever. I don't expect to lose a lot of trees. I don't expect to see a lot of down power lines because it's been so wet here all summer long, and we've had enough 3 o'clock thunderstorms that blow freaking tropical force winds around here all summer long, and lightning strikes and want that. I'm really fully believe that all the trees that are going to come down or would come down in this probably already have. And so I may be wrong about that. It's very possible, but we're going to get a lot of water. Santa Fe River, which is just to the south of me, is most likely going to overflow its banks. It'll be touch and go as to whether or not US 441 floods out where I am. If that's the case, well, then I'll be going north to go south to Gainesville later in the week. But we'll see. But it is what it is. So we're prepared. We've got plenty of food. We've got Camille rearranged all the foods, got the chest freezer packed, and it's got we got the reflective insulation, that sheet that she's got cut out literally for our big piece of thermobar that she puts on top of the chest freezer for just these occasions, and we're okay. So we've got batteries, we've got hurricane lamps, I've got 100 board games, we're good to go. So if we're without power, we're without power. But then again, we may not have any power. But I might, if I get the generator running, maybe we will do one Friday night. So we'll see what happens. All right. So those are the opening remarks for the evening. And for those of you who are now completely freaking bored with the self-indulgent part of the stream, let's get on with the show. All right. So as always, you can follow me over tomluongo.me. You can follow me on Twitter, TFL1728, whenever I'm arsed to freaking tweet, because who the fuck wants to tweet in this goddamn political environment? Because, it could get, I could say the wrong thing and, oh my God, feel really bad about what people say about me and they commit suicide. Fucking Gamergate shit I was just reading about. I just want to fucking scream. Oh, by the way, last editorial comment before we get to Germany. We have been playing WoW Classic for the last week. It's been freaking awesome. And I can tell you that, dudes, if you're ever wondering whether or not un-PC culture exists in this country, and it's alive and well. Baron's chat is as nasty and vile as it was 15 years ago. I mean, it's freaking awesome, actually. And now they're just making fun of all the SJWs while they go about it. So it's all good. You can see the community coming together. You can see people we're all hanging out, doing stuff, working with each other, having a good time. At the same time, cutting all the shit libs down to size. It's fucking phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. Because, the Chuck Norris jokes are now are beyond, they're now even worse than they ever were. So fucking Baron's chat's been great, and so is everything else. I mean, when you see some of the guild names that are running around today in WoW Classic, you're just like yes. Oh, that fucking place is not PC. I'm like, my daughter's playing with me, and I'm like, and then I remember that we just bought her tickets to go see Book of Mormon with us when it comes to Gainesville in January. I'm like, yeah, dude, get the fuck over yourself, right? Yeah, she hasn't heard this shit from you before. All right, so all right. Thank you, Cube Dog. I thought it was pretty good. It was really pretty obvious. I mean, once I saw the results that came out of Germany and in Brandenburg and Saxony, I was like, this is the best outcome possible for them. It's the same thing with Salvini in Italy now being out of power. I'm like, dude, we're looking at like the end of Europe, and these guys all want to hold on to power. I'm like, if you ever wanted a data point as to how freaking arrogant and clueless these people are, but what they've engendered and what's coming, oh my God. All you need to look at is the palace intrigue over in Italy, and then today's results in Germany, or yesterday's results in Germany, because these guys honestly do think that if they can just hold back the populists and hold on to power, that they can stop what's coming. That they can still have control over the sovereign debt crisis and the rest of it. And I'm like, you guys, what you don't want to be right now is a European politician in power. If you want to have any credibility whatsoever in 2020, after 2020 and 2021, the last place you want to be is actually in power. Where you want to be is the official opposition. So AfD is perfectly positioned now, both in the Bundestag as the official opposition party, and now in Saxony and Brandenburg. And I'm going to go over some of the stuff in those two in just a minute. I'm doing this blind tonight. I didn't have time to write up notes or anything, so if I ramble a little bit, please forgive. But it's really obvious that the place you want to be is not in power. You want to be the people who can stand back and go, oh, this is all your fault, which it is. I mean, the SPD has been in charge in Brandenburg since, I don't know what, World War II. The CDU's been in charge in Saxony since the 1980s, since the Berlin Wall fell. I mean, so there's nothing here that will reflect badly back on AfD for not being in power. And so when it all comes down, the two ruling parties are going to be the ones that get blamed. It's the same thing that's has been happening in Britain with Brexit and with the UK. If these Tory Remainers that are trying to stop Boris Johnson from getting a no-deal Brexit passed, if they really think that they're acting in anybody's best interest in the long run, they're nuts. Because everybody's just going to blame the freaking EU for this. Like, you have to be a special kind of fucking stupid to say after, Brexit, to say, once the sovereign debt crisis comes down the pike, to blame the Brexiteers for any hardship in the UK. Well, if it wasn't for you guys, well, then things wouldn't have been so bad, and it wouldn't have got so like you have to be a special kind of stupid. I mean, British. You have to be a special kind of stupid in order to actually think that. Now, there's plenty of people in this world who are that special kind of stupid. We call them Marxists, but that's just the way things are. So it's going to be really fascinating to watch this play out, right? So they went around in Italy. They hold serve barely in Brandenburg and Saxony. Thuringia is up at right around Halloween. For those of you who don't remember, Thuringia is next. There's another one at the end of October. I think it's right around Halloween, if not actually on Halloween. And all of this is really good. So what happened here? So in Saxony, AfD lost to the CDU by less than 5 points, and I saw the numbers for the seating by representation in Saxony's parliament, and there's no way for the CDU to form a coalition without AfD that is in any way, manner, shape, or form stable. The only possible coalition they could form is with the Greens and Der Linke, which is the left party. So you can imagine how unmetastable that thing's going to be, because the CDU took one fewer seats they needed 61 seats, and I think they're like one or two short of any kind of two-party coalition that excludes AfD. So AfD is going to wind up being the opposition party again with like 30% of the Bundestag, or 27% of the Saxony's parliament. And they're going to have a hell of a time actually even putting together a coalition government in the first place. I didn't look at the numbers in Brandenburg. I didn't actually see them this morning, but it's probably going to be just as bad, because the SPD won. They'll form a grand coalition with the CDU, maybe. But AfD was strong enough there that, again, they're going to be shut out of coalition talks. And the last thing they want to be, and I'm honest, if I'm Alice Vidal or Jorg Muthen, I hope I'm saying his name right. If I'm them, I would state out of hand that I don't want a coalition government with either of those two major parties, because that's the perfect place to be. It's like, I don't want to be in charge of this shit when you guys fuck it all up. I don't want any blame for this crap. See, and this is the thing. If the powers that be actually understood and believed and understood how bad things actually were, they would now talk to AfD about forming coalition parties in order to be able to put the blame on them. If they were smart in Italy, they would have done the same thing. They would have let Salvini take control, and then when everything went south, boom, blame it all on Salvini. Is Marxist a new euphemism for globalist neoliberal? A globalist neoliberal is a nice way of saying fucking Marxist. They're all just Marxists at the end of the day, because Marxism is an ideology that's built on modern Marxism is built on French postmodernism and a worship of power, and everything else just flows from that. All of the conclusions just flow from that. But everything, it's a mindset. And these globalist neoliberals, whether they're actively Marxist or not, they would even describe themselves that way. They, at the end of the day, are Marxists. They worship frickin' power, and they don't believe in anything. They don't have any purpose in their life. Their purpose in life is to subjugate other people to their will because they think everybody else is Untermensch and not worthy of their time. Meandering Mango Man, like the special kind of stupid, I mean British. The minute I use that phrase, and I was leading up to it, I just want you guys to know what was actually going through my head the entire time. I'm gonna keep using that phrase, and then I'm gonna go, oh, I mean British. I was setting myself up for that joke for like a minute, just knowing that every once in a while the brain's actually functioning in a linear fashion. Marx actually predicted this. No, he didn't. No, he did not. Franz, you're so full of shit. You guys are so funny. Modern Marxists are just so goddamn funny. Like, it's so sad. Because what you guys describe as freaking capitalism is not capitalism. It's all friggin'... You guys have been in fucking charge. The goddamn Marxists have been in charge for the last 100 years, for Christ's sake. I say this to progressives all the time. I'm like, you guys are the worst winners I've ever seen. I mean, you're worse than Red Sox fans, for Christ's sake. You guys have set the political agenda in the West, in the United States and Europe and Britain for 100 fucking years, for Christ's sake. And then when you lose one like by-election somewhere and it's the end of the goddamn world. Oh my God, the Nazis are taking over. Like, oh, shut the fuck up. AF rules is right. In Saxony, they voted over 60% for conservatives, but they don't want to do a conservative coalition. No, they won't actually do a conservative coalition with AfD. They won't do it. I'm like, see, Franz, you're really funny. Franz says, the elites are ruthless capitalists who worship Mises secretly. They don't. They're ineffectual, fucking stupid, power-drunk Marxists and Samuelsonian / Keynesians that think their farts don't sniff and they have power and they use it. They're not Misesian in any way, manner, shape, and form. So let's just dispense with the bullshit, or I'm going to have to ban you. Even as entertaining as you are, you're too much of a fucking distraction for me to even function. So cut the bullshit, Franz. You know you're wrong. Fuck off. Okay, so now back to the show. A Kenya coalition. The reason I think we should have let Andrew Yang sail out the wooden decks and bring down the whole system. Oh my God, Andrew Yang is completely insane. FYI. Neocons begat the neolibs. Well, they're kind of the same thing. Honestly, they're just interventionists. The neocons are just they're just Trotskyites, and the neolibs are just Trotskyites, and they're both just flavors of Marxist, and that's the end of it. If we re-elect Donald Trump, baby boomers will bankrupt and destroy America. Boomers have already bankrupted and are destroying America. Boomers will bankrupt America regardless who wins. What is this future tense bullshit, guys? This $228 trillion worth of unfunded liabilities and just government unfunded liabilities alone, is that not enough for you? Is, 15 times current GDP and unfunded liabilities for the U.S. government, forget the state governments, the defined benefit plans, or the private unfunded liabilities of private pension plans. If that's not enough for you, which all, by the way, is all fucking Marxist. All of it, every single dollar of it is fucking Marxist. That's not enough for you. I don't know what this present tense, this future tense bullshit is, because we're already broke. The problem is the markets don't want to believe that we're broke because the alternative is oblivion. And no one wants to actually be the first guy to step off the fucking bridge. Juncker is not a Randian objectivist. What are you, out of your fucking mind? Every goddamn Randian I've ever met is a fucking flaming anarchist. Juncker runs the EU. By definition, he's not a Randian. Holy sheep shit. How dumb do you have to fucking be? I mean, seriously, Franz, how fucking stupid. No, sorry. New special kind of stupid. Franz is announced tonight. All right, let's move back. Let's move back to some comments. But no, AfD is in a beautiful position here to just sit here and watch it happen. Moreover, what really was fascinating about the election results, especially in Saxony, I didn't see the numbers in Brandenburg because I didn't spend a lot of time looking for this stuff this morning. I did very little time because I decided to take half the day off. But the Saxony numbers were fascinating because AfD was the leading vote getter in the 18 to 29 demographic as well as the 30 to 44 demographic. And it was only the older generations, i.e. the fucking baby boomers and the late Gen Xers, that voted for the CDU. So what's coming? Okay, what's coming is something completely different in Germany. And it's a similar thing that happened in the Greek elections earlier in this year in July, where the numbers for Golden Dawn were far higher than anybody wanted to admit publicly. And that's the hard right in Greece. Not New Democracy, which is, who's in power. Can't remember the guy's name. It's Golden Dawn. The quote-unquote new Nazi, the Greek neo-Nazis. Shit in one hand, wish in the other. So let's see which one comes up first. So there we are. Oh, LG Bear is that's your new account? All right, gotcha. Awesome. How'd it turn out? Well, we'll find out in 6 weeks, right? The media is, of course, going to play this like they dodged the bullet. Cube Dog, you're absolutely right, but they're wrong. They haven't. All they've done is tied the noose tighter and pushed the day of reckoning off another little while. Look how crazy the left is in the UK. They're not burning the Union Jack and waving the EU flag as if it means anything. It's just a made-up flag because of a treaty. No one asked if they didn't want it. You're right. Yes, the left does. You're absolutely right. This is Welsh 73 and 77. The left wants medicine shortages and for the UK to struggle so that they can say, we told you so. That's how messed up they are in their Fruit Loop head. It's even worse than that. If you don't think that Ollie Robbins and the rest of the UK civil service aren't going to purposefully fuck things up post-Brexit on purpose in order for Alistair Campbell and Tony Blair and the rest of those fucking disgusting pieces of fucking human filth can use that to go on a fucking piece of shit, fucking horrible crap BBC and Sky News and Channel 4 and all the fucking rest of it. It's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, the British already have the television news that is in journalism that is literally the bottom of the barrel, that makes the National Enquirer look like fucking Oscar Wilde, for Christ's sake. And these people have exported it, mostly to the United States, unfortunately. These people need to be just, you know, British Marxism is a special kind of friggin' insidious shit that needs to be dealt with. Something we don't talk about a lot around here, but it's absolutely correct. All right, let's go back to the some of the other things. So Mnuchin says all the marbles is out there floating the idea of selling tip securities tied to education and medical inflation. Mnuchin's also talking about 100-year bonds and everything else because, well, he's Mnuchin. And, you know, Goldman Sachs wants to sell it. Soros probably takes notes from the stream. No, he doesn't. I got news for you, dude. No, he doesn't. I'm dead serious, Franz. Keep it up. I'll just ban you because you're not that interesting anymore. AF Rules, it reminds us that Keynes wanted his work to first be published in Nazi Germany because he liked the regime. Oh, that's absolutely true. Freedom Fox, I'd call them statists or materialists who worship power, but definitely not Marxists. Definitely not closet Misesian worshippers. That's funny. Don't give Marx a free pass. These people describe themselves as Marxists. Take them at their word. We used to call them bag holders, says Tim Cutler. Macron, Juncker, May, Merkel, Biden, Comey, Epstein, Erdogan. They will all be frog marched soon. Media kept saying that the Greens were the ones grabbing the young vote. Fucking, I posted it in my article today. Hold on, let me go find this. This is awesome. You're gonna love this, okay? You're gonna love this when I show this to you. Let me get it real quick. Here, no, I don't want to use that tab. Hold on for just a second. I'll post this up. You're gonna love this. And make it big. There it is. Change the desktop. Okay, can you guys see that? Watch. Can you guys read that? I'm gonna make it even bigger. Let's just get this right. I'm going to read this tweet to you. Germany, Saxony regional election. The Greens, strong among young people. Right-wing AfD, strong among middle-aged people. CDU, strong amongst older generations. Does anybody notice that the black bars, which are the AfD bars, are stronger than the Greens in the 18 to 29 category? Did anybody notice that the Greens are shit and anybody over the age of 30? The best they could do was to lie and say the Greens were strong then. It's a bullshit tweet. AfD is strong in Saxony for everybody under the age of 45. And really, everybody under the age of 60. Those are the bars. That's the reality. Unbelievable, these people. Shameless in the way they lie for the regime. Shameless. AF Rule reminds me that he says, hey, Tom, don't forget that the baby boomers only care about their government pension. Baby boomers unfortunately, as a generation, at this point, not all of them, but many of them, they believe that they're right and they believe that they have done great work in changing the world and that they deserve to be taken care of. And it doesn't matter how many of their grandchildren they sell into debtor slavery to get it done, because that's what they've done. Tenjin reminds us that the status quo is under attack all over, which is fantastic. The crusty old dudes who want to defend it are on the wane. We've seen, look, we're at peak leftism, we're at peak Soros, we're at peak EU, we're at peak Marxism, all of it. This is all predictable. Absolutely, by Misesians, by like myself and the rest of them, that socialism will eventually fail because you will, as Margaret Thatcher said, eventually run out of other people's money. And that's the truth. And if we actually had anything close to a free market, all this shit would have collapsed years ago. As a matter of fact, it did collapse about 48 years ago when Nixon closed the gold window. Bretton Woods didn't work. This competitive devaluation thing isn't working. All it's doing is inflating the money supply and destroying all our lives. Mnuchin has a hot wife. I have a hot wife. It's not a qualification for Treasury Secretary. The project to abolish the British military and integrate it with the European one continues apace. You damn well right, and that's the main reason That's one of the things that Theresa May did while she was negotiating Brexit, and it's one of the things that's actually one of the biggest stumbling blocks to a no-deal Brexit from that perspective. Yeah, the Greens are strong in Western Germany, not in the East. Absolutely, that is true. That means that there's a huge, strong generational divide that was never overcome. And cultural divide that was never overcome after the Berlin Wall fell. Magazog Failure says the Republican Party doesn't know who they are. They know exactly who they are, by the way. Tax cuts for the rich doesn't say who they are. But neoconservatives for Bibi, they know exactly who they are. Bagel Flingin' Dragon, hello Ryu, how are you? I'm just here to ask Tom where his solid gold hat is, but I think he won't tell me, so I'll be back next week and ask him again. See you next week, Tom. Say hello to the goats for me. Take care, Ryu. We'll talk to you later. Wouldn't lump it again. I don't know. Never. Winston Churchill had it right. If you're liberal at 20, if you're not liberal at 20, you have no heart, and if you're not conservative by 30, you're a moron. Yep. Why isn't American youth right wing like in Europe? Because the bills haven't come due yet. Some call themselves social democrats, but who describe themselves as Marxists? It doesn't matter what they describe themselves as. So social democrats, as far as I'm concerned, they're fucking Marxists. It's all derivative. It's all downstream of Marxist horse shit. All the progressives, all that shit. It's all downstream of that. I guess young people means people who are 60 plus. These people don't even attempt to make it appear as if they're presenting the truth anymore. Bingo, Mango Man. Any truth that Karl Marx was a cousin to the Rothschilds? I don't know. I don't. Mnuchin's wife is the most stereotypical gold digger I've ever seen, other than Melania Trump. What are you talking about? Sorry, can't say that. Melania is really. I know they shouldn't like pick on Melania, but come on, it's just trophy wife. That's fine. They keep thinking that the U.S. dollar will give them the power they need to continue the money print, continue the printing of money. I don't know how to respond to complete ignorance anymore. Yeah. Tomorrow, UK Parliament will be a big day. Yes, it will be. Corbyn might well be dumb enough to try and force an election. Then Brexit Party becomes Kingmaker or Tory Slayer, depending on the balls of Boris R.E. No deal. Fun thing, you have it absolutely right. These people are they're that desperate to try and stop a no deal that they're going to try. Letwin and Oliver Letwin and Dominic Reeve are out there threatening, fire and brimstone and the rest of it to try and bring down the Bojo government. And then guess what? It's not like in any way, matter, shape, or form, anybody's going to nobody wants Jeremy Corbyn anywhere near 10 Downing Street. And all that'll do is push people into both the Brexit Party and the Tories. The Labour will lose the Midlands, and that will be the end of that. Nigel Farage will walk into Parliament with a minimum of 150 seats, and everybody will go, oh fuck, what do we do now? You didn't expect a woke answer from me about what? Magazog? That the Republican Party doesn't know who they are? Dude, I'm no fucking Republican. I'm at best a hardcore libertarian. For the most part, I'm just an asshole now. Okay? Because, the whole libertarian thing has failed. The Koch brothers have destroyed it. So now we got to come up with better terms. And I think anarcho asshole works really well. Maybe I'll just do that. So Tom, what's your political... Yeah, so politically, what are you? A narco asshole. Maybe that's best. The problem with the Brexit Party is Farage lacks a will to power. It's both a good thing and a bad thing, actually. At least there's only one Koch brother now. I know. Some people's graves I don't mind dancing on. Remember, moment of silence for John McCain's brain tumor, who valiantly gave up his life to rid the world of one warmongering asshole. Now, if we can only grow another one in Bibi Netanyahu's fucking brain. Am I evacuating for Dorian? No, I don't have any need to. Cube Dog. Just so you guys, I went over this earlier, and you kind of missed a lot of this, but no worries about us. We're north of Gainesville. We're in kind of the one area in Florida that everything has to go absolutely right for us to get hit with anything bigger than a Cat 2. And more often than not, it would come from the Gulf. And like Irma 2 years ago could have easily hit us at a Cat 4 strength, like scrape Tampa, come up the coast, and then turn, east right towards us. It didn't do that. It actually skirted Tampa and then went up and slammed in the Tallahassee and Pensacola. And we got some rain. We're in a very good spot from that perspective. But the only thing it could be better is if we were about 50 or 100 feet above sea level, higher above sea level. But for the most part, we're good. And, we could lose power because of where we are for a couple days, maybe as long as a week, depending on how bad the storm is. But for the most part, I don't think it's even going to be all that bad. I think Dorian's not a huge storm. It's a very, very tight, compact, and mean storm. We're going to get a shit ton of rain. We'll probably get tropical force winds, but dude, I mean, like, I mow the lawn in tropical storm force winds. Not the rain, obviously, but I mean, like, it's not even a big deal. So, Mango Man says every time I think every time Trump wants a hug from Melania, she demands $5,000. Sex is $50,000. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, Dorian looks like a lot of hype, to be honest, but the speeds aren't what they claim. Just check out the weather data sites. It's impressive, but so hurricanes are now climate change. I got news for you. Hurricanes are a function of two things. One, it's a cooling planet that comes from higher cloud albedo, and two, comes from the changes in the Earth and the sun's magnetic fields, and you need to go and start learning that. And that has a huge effect on weather, far more than a 1 degree gradual rise in surface temperatures over the last 11,000 years, where the sun has been at literally peak output for the first at any level since for the last 200,000 years. So go do some fucking research. Go do some basic friggin', unfuck your ideology and start learning about how physics actually works. 99% of climate science is not based. It is based on an absolutely incomplete set of data that only looks at total solar radiance. And this, from here forward, if you're not listening, if you guys aren't watching Suspicious Observers at this point, you guys don't know a fucking thing about weather. That's what I'm going to tell you. The more I watch that channel, the more I'm like, this is so freaking true. And I am a physicist and a chemist, and I do understand these things at a high enough level to know that they're not bullshitting me. All right, let's move on. So, fuck global warming. Anybody who tells you that you should be worried about global warming is getting alarmed over there being too much heat in your corner of the universe. Got news for you. The universe is cold, the universe is hostile, and the universe is actively trying to kill you. And the easiest way for the universe to kill you is to freeze you to death in no time flat. Take the win. You live in a hot place. There aren't very many of them in the universe. And then do yourself another favor and go look at just how fucking small you are. Then go look at how small the Earth is relative to the sun. Then go think about how small the sun is relative to the fucking galaxy. And then you'll get an idea of just how fucking insignificant you are. We humans are some of the most hubristic pieces of shit this universe has ever created. Marxists especially. Get a little fucking perspective. Greta Thunberg. Greta's a fucking... She's autistic. Two, her fucking parents have turned her into this girl has freaking personality, has fucking disorders from being in shell shock, from being told from the fucking time she's this goddamn big that the world's gonna end. She's in fucking shock. She's not a hero. Holy shit. To be Farage and Brexit voters, no one thought they would so completely and brazenly To be fair to Farage and Brexit voters, no one thought they would so completely and brazenly ignore the result. Exactly. I think that even Nigel is shocked at just to the level at which they are willing to betray Brexit. Northern, 1639, and I think that's the issue. I mean, I've listened to a lot of Nigel and I've watched a lot of his radio program on LBC, and I can tell you that he seems genuine to me when he says, I really thought we had won. I thought it was done. And I could then get my life back and go forward, and I don't have to do this because they're going to go through with it. But they're not going to go through with it now, and now he's used to listen to him every day, and he's like, no, Boris is going to betray us. He's going to do this. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. And fuck him. I'm going to have to be doing this for the rest of my life. But I'm prepared to do it. You want to see a terrified EU, says DWD? Have that general election and watch the reactions when Farage takes the key to 10 Downing Street, which is very fucking possible if in any way, manner, shape, or form Boris Johnson does any kind of deal with the EU that leads to a general election. That's not a true Brexit. 60% of Brits want Brexit done properly. And getting some language change to the backstop and putting through Theresa May's deal, that's not Brexit. And he will get his ass handed to him. It'd be great if a Cat 10 hurricane hit the EU. No. You just want the effects of a coronal mass ejection to hit the big fucking building in Brussels. That's it. Well, very localized and very targeted. Boom, EMP that motherfucker. Stop all their pacemakers dead cold and shatter Juncker's liquor cabinet. We're all good. Farage will never walk into number 10 as PM. Not in the next 5 years. What happens in a post-Brexit Britain? There's no guarantee there's going to be a Brexit at this point, so let's not talk about that. If it's a proper post-Brexit Britain, everything will be fine. Pound will drop to about $1.10. Trump will do a trade deal. We'll put a trade deal through with the EU, with the UK in about 5 minutes flat. The FTSE will rally 35%. Franz, you're talking to a guy who pretty much calls all statists Marxists. So, yeah. In my mind, I'm such a fucking radical. I'm such an anarcho asshole. Nigel Farage is a Marxist as far as I'm concerned. I have some sympathy for Juncker. He's only lying because it's so serious. Exactly. Tension. Exactly. I don't have any sympathy for Juncker. He's a scumbag. Greta's mother was an opera singer. Her father, an actor, grandfather, movie director, great-grandfather, Nobel scientist, and the first person to look at the CO2 and warming. He realized CO2 equals greening. Ooh. Bullshit. Yeah, he said CO2 equals greening. Exactly. By the way, when there's more CO2, there's more plants. When there's more plants, there's more food. When there's more food, animals have more sex. Polar bears are higher numbers now than they've been in a century and a half in recorded history. They're such a fucking problem now. We need to start shooting them. Okay? There's so many goddamn polar bears. Because when there's too much energy, then there's more fucking biomass. When there's more biomass, there's more food. And when there's more food, guess what? Things fuck. And they make babies. And those babies stay alive because there's an abundance of freaking energy, available energy for them to fucking make more babies. This is kind of biology. This is kind of, I talk about this all the time. I'm like, it's fucking Arrhenius, people. It's not that hard. If you don't know who Arrhenius is, there's your homework assignment for the evening. It's the guy with the chemical rate equation. Just a little thing, and guess what? Chemical rates go up. Most 99.9% of chemical rates go up as a function of -1 over the natural log of the temperature. So guess what? As temperature goes up, so does the rate. It's that simple. You mean National Geographic was lying to us? Yeah, you think? Just a little. No, they wouldn't lie to us. They show us boobies. Boris hates Farage, by the way. Oh, I know he does. But he's going to have to do a deal with him if he wants to stay in power if he calls a general election and he doesn't go with a no-deal Brexit. I just got back from Germany, says DWD, and no one under the age of 50 has anything positive to say about the CDU. Bingo. No one anywhere. Where were you? Were you in West Germany or East Germany? Just so I know. I mean, if you were in like Berlin, right, that would be cool. That's why they don't mention her great-grandfather. She's not an average Swedish girl discovered for protesting on her own. Of course, she's straight out of Central Casting. Are you kidding me? Greta? She's straight out of Central Casting. Come on, guys. I know you know. I mean, I know you guys know this, but come on. Like, it's so over this whole, so over leftists. And I'm so over the global warming thing. It's so goddamn obvious how many trillions of dollars of freaking GDP have been misdirected by Marxists into unsustainable, stupid fucking bullshit that didn't make anybody's life better except the freaking people who sold the fucking products that are all falling apart and full of shit and depreciating like mad anyway. Like every goddamn Tesla ever sold. Go look at the depreciation curves on Teslas and Priuses and the rest of them. And all the money that was spent and all the fucking energy that they cost in order to make the goddamn pieces of shit for them to depreciate like mad and waste hundreds of millions of dollars of people's capital when they could have just bought a goddamn Ford Focus and gotten 40 miles to the gallon. So you were in Rhineland-Westphalia outside NRW. Not sure where NRW is. Look at all these cash grab IPOs. Bingo. But outside of Berlin and Munich. Okay, great. So, yeah, I mean, in the eastern part of Germany, yeah, the CDU's not well liked. Would be interested to see the breakdown of CDU support among Westies and Aussies. I think Aussies are even more critical. You're probably right about that. It'll be interesting to see as time goes along here. AfD's got a lot of work to do, but as for a party that didn't exist in 2013 as to where they are today, they're doing yeoman's work, because what they're starting to do is they now have the opportunity as Germany slides into recession, as the EU slides towards a sovereign debt default, and the broken promises of fucking Marxism come to roost. This is not late stage capitalism. This is what late stage Marxism looks like. They will have an opportunity to say, we have the solution to fix Germany. Everybody will look to the opposition party, and if they're smart, they'll be there. So Germany is where Italy was 5 years ago, looking for new answers. And the first answer they came up with was five-star movement, because, well, started in the south, and there was nobody else. And then it became the League and Salvini, when the League and Salvini came down off the secessionist high horse, came back down to them want to lead all of Italy with the right answers. That's why Salvini is leading. That's why the League is leading in the polls. That's why Five Star collapsed from the moment that Salvini entered the stage, because Salvini is truly talking about reforming things, whereas Five Star were always, a bunch of unorganized grabastic pieces of amphibian or leftist shit. So, yeah, North Rhine-Westphalia. Thank you. I knew what I was trying to say, and I knew that's what you meant, but I knew I was going to get the words wrong, so I didn't want to right. North Rhine-Westphalia, which is classically an SPD stronghold, and they got they got fucked in the last election. AfD took a sincere chunk of that vote. They didn't win, but they took a sincere chunk of that vote. Then I was really surprised by that. That's an incredibly important state. It's becoming a swing state, the way I look at it. A lot of quiet support for AfD in the South. It's very, very good. And at some point, it's going to boil over as people get used to the idea of voting for it, and used to the idea of them not being Nazis. Meaning, the more people that they talk to who voted AfD or considering AfD, the more it becomes acceptable, and then eventually it just becomes a tidal wave. And I think that's what's going to happen. Right now, the move into the Greens in places like Berlin and others, I think that's a temporary thing. That's a protest vote against the SPD not doing its job and still being and still being beholden to Merkel. I think the Greens are, I don't think the Greens have got a long life. I mean, it could wind up being that the realignment and political realignment in Germany is the Greens versus AfD, which would be a very, very interesting problem. But we'll see what happens. Chad McLeod reminds us that it's easier and better as a company, that it's less fashionable to be profitable than to just loot investors and then make a profit off of looting them, which is vulture capitalism is crazy at this point. I mean, look, the modern Marxists today, and certainly the modern labor movement today, and some of the progressives, they're not wrong in their criticisms. They're just wrong in their implementation of how to fix things. That's where they're wrong. You know, a lot of Marx's observations about that period in time in which he was writing were absolutely valid. The conclusions he drew were insane. Could AfD be ruling Germany 10 years from now? Yes. I hope the Germans are smart enough to look to other parties for solutions. I have my doubts, though. I think it's beginning to, I think the worm is beginning to turn. If anything, I think this election cycle tells you that if you're getting the numbers below the age of 50, are people looking for different solutions? Then yeah, there's going to be a political upheaval in Germany sooner rather than later. And again, Deutsche Bank failing, Commerzbank failing, the sovereign debt crisis, recession, Brexit, all of that, it's all going to fall disproportionately on Germans. They're not going to be happy about it. Germany decided a long time ago that their model will never change and continue to be a mercantilist exporting nation as opposed to building a proper and sustainable domestic consumer economy. Because of that, when the bottom drops out on Germany, it's going to drop out hard and it's going to drop out quick. Okay? And people are going to be angry and they're going to be mad. And they're going to look to their government and say, what the fuck? And that's what's coming. All right, guys, it's 51 minutes, and I want to go hang out with my wife, who I've not seen much today, and we should probably strategize for how we're going to deal with this hurricane over the course of the next 2 days. So I do appreciate it. For those of you who have been like teasing me about coming on, hanging out and playing World of Warcraft Classic with us, please pop into the Discord channel. I'll put that thing up there, and remember, you can use my Discord channel to drop stuff my way if you want, articles or things you see or whatever. It would be awesome. That's the wrong thing. I need. Yeah, try that one. That one. Boom. No. Why is it hiding? That ain't right. Try that one. Why did it hide the link? Never expire. Throw that one. Whatever. All right. Well, whatever. Talk about it later. But yeah, do so. Pop on the Man Creek server. Give me a shout, or you can get a hold of me on Battle.net. This is my Battle.net ID, and go from there. All right. All right. You guys take care. You be well. We'll talk soon. Keep it sick.